Talking about the challenges of 2025 in the real estate market. Huge market, but extremely challenging for many, many investors. Today, I'm interviewing the one and only Johnny Crossfade. I call him Johnny Cash. He's a partner in HML Investment, and he's in the Miami office. Johnny, how are you today?
It's good to be here. It's good to see you.
It's very good to see you.
Good to be
Welcome to
back.
Couple Real Estate, sponsored by you, of course,
Yes.
HML Investments. Today, I got a lot of requests from people talking about the challenges of the market right now because it's extremely challenging for borrowers and real estate investors to get qualified for loans. But you, out of many, many people that I know in the industry, you have a lot of experience right now after doing this for so long. You're talking to hundreds of people a week, if not thousands, and I'm not exaggerating, right? What do you see is happening? Where do you see the market is going right now?
I think the market is at an interesting point right now. There's certain metropolitan areas and states around the nation that lenders are pulling back from because there's a ton of supply. For example, Florida, in particular, like Naples, the West Coast, Lehigh Acres, Fort Myers, even St. Petersburg and Tampa. That whole West Coast of Florida, a lot of lenders are nervous about because there's so much supply on the market and values are declining drastically. And Florida's not the only market where that's happening. We're seeing that a lot in Texas and other states across the nation. But Texas and Florida in particular, values are dropping. We're seeing that in appraisals that we've been getting lately. A lot of them are below borrowers' expectations. So we're still getting deals done in these markets despite values coming down. But that's just what I've been seeing. So lenders are pulling out. We're still lending there. But it's an interesting market. I think it's a good time for buyers. But for builders, they just have to pick their markets wisely. Like you don't want to be lending at price points that are the top 1% of sales in the zip code. That's where a lot of builders are getting stuck. If any luxury build in these types of markets where it's like top 1% of sales in the zip code, they're struggling to sell. And those are where the biggest decline in values are happening. Are builders who are building smaller starter homes that are not luxury, not in the top 1%, those are selling no problem. Those builders are fine. So it's interesting to see right now.
So I've seen the movement in the past couple of years. A lot of people are moving to the East Coast. We did that as well because Johnny actually was here in LA before, and most of the work that we had on the loans were in California. But then we start opening up to other markets, and we realized that the East Coast is booming. And how can you explain that if you can at all? Because it's unclear to me because I do business here in LA for over 25 years. And right now to shift everything to the East Coast is challenging for me. But, I talked earlier last week in another episode that I did for a couple of real estate. And I was talking about how you got to change with the market. And we're literally seeing a lot of investors changing with the market and they're moving away from states like California and New York to Florida. Do you see that too? Like you
That's
see a lot of
exactly what I'm
investors like
seeing.
that?
I mean, when I started working with you, we did a lot of loans in California, and we still do loans in California to
Yeah.
this day, still happening, but way less loans are getting funded in California than I've seen in my experience in my years of doing this business. And it's because it's tougher, with the regulations, the government that's in place, how long it takes to get permits. It's hard to find land. You have to wait a year to get permits, because you're
Yeah.
developing buildings. So a lot of people are, one, moving out of California, less people are building in California. And a lot of people are going to these other states where it's more affordable to live. I think a big opportunity in the market is affordable housing, which is what you're developing, but not just in apartments. And I'm not talking just Section 8, but just affordable starter homes for people in my generation that are millennials or Gen Z that can actually afford a home. And you can't do that in California.
Yeah.
But people are moving to places like Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, even where they can afford to buy their first home. And a lot of these people are cash buyers too, because with interest rates right now, 6, 7%, people don't really want to pay that and they can't afford that. So there's a huge move to affordability. because the cost of owning a home is increasing. I saw some number the other day. I think the median price to buy a home in America is around like 450K,
Yeah.
which is the highest it's ever been. So it's never been harder to buy a home for Americans, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. So that's why people are moving to the East Coast. And luckily, we market nationwide, and we get most of our requests on the East Coast right now.
Now, most of our viewers in couple real estate, they're investors. 99% of them, they're investors. We're trying to make money, to create success in real estate, and they always hear my opinion, but I want to hear your opinion as far as like if I'm a first-time investor. I want to start out right now. I know it's very challenging to get loans because right now lenders are more conservative with their money. Hedge funds are more conservative. So they're trying to get people with more experience. But if, let's say, I'm a first-time investor, I want to break into the industry. I want to start flipping properties, maybe even developing properties. Can you help a first-time investor like that?
Yeah, we can. So you have three types of investment strategies that you can do with us. You can do fix and flips. You can buy and renovate a home. You can do 30-year rental loans. So you can buy an investment property and rent it out for cash flow. Then you can also do a ground-up construction loan to develop and sell the property or hold it. Now, fix and flip and 30-year rental loans or DSCR loans are no problem for first-time investors. It's really just about having good credit. It's not about personal income or taxes. It's just good credit and the deal makes sense. You can either flip it to sell it and make a profit, or you can rent out the property and the cash flow will cover the expenses. So that's very easy for first-time investors, and we help first-time investors all the time with that. Development is trickier for first-time investors because no lenders like lending to first-time developers. We don't like lending to first-time developers. We can't. And so what I recommend for first-time developers is if you do have a good ground-up construction project that's profitable and it's a good deal, good location, and you believe in it and you can't get a loan for it, partner with someone who has the experience on your first deal. And you should partner with someone anyways. You should never do it alone on your first deal. Partner with an experienced developer that knows what they're doing. Give them a percentage of the profits, right? Just so you can get that first deal under your belt. Consider it training, right? You get that first deal, maybe you make a little bit of profit, you learn a lot, and then now you don't need a partner on any of your future loans for ground up construction.
It's a great idea. Now, another great idea that you brought to my attention right now, because you're saying you can't help a first-time developer, but you can help a first-time flipper. If you're first time, like you're just starting out in real estate, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sure you made a lot of mistakes. We all did. Now, when you do a development, you want to enter real estate, create success, but doing development, the mistakes, they're gonna cost you a lot of money. So you need to minimize it and just put like, let's say, take 1 year or the first couple of years when you're starting out as an investor. You want to get the experience, but you want to make mistakes that's not going to cost you as much money. Instead of millions of dollars, maybe $100,000. You will make mistakes. And fix and flip, I think it's the best way to start out. You do 3, 4, 5 different properties. You're still going to make money, but the mistakes going to be very, very small comparing to making big mistakes in developments that can take you also months of accruing interest. Plus, it costs a lot of money to correct a big mistake in development process. So fix and flip, I think it's the best way to start. You agree with me, right?
I agree. It's a great way to get your feet wet in real estate. And same thing with 30-year rental loans too. Like if you just want to buy a property and not renovate it and just rent it out for cash flow, also a great option for first-time investors, no doubt.
So I personally, I used to do a lot of fix and flip when I started, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Today, I don't believe in selling real estate at all, but I understand the concept of flipping because you need that in order to kind of like raise capital. In the very beginning, when you start, you're starting with $20,000, $30,000, most people. And then eventually, by the end of the year, you can get to 100, 150, and then you can grow. You can do bigger projects. Maybe you can enter development. So I understand that concept. But if, let's say, an investor that's watching us right now, he's thinking like me, he doesn't want to sell the property. What's the solution for a person like that? Let's say he bought a property, now he fixed it, he can't qualify for a conventional loan. Can you help him get another loan like DSCR or anything like that for a first-time real estate investor?
Yeah, so a lot of flippers and developers that we work with that don't end up selling the property, they end up keeping it. And what they do is they refinance on a DSCR loan with us. And a DSCR loan is just a debt service coverage ratio loan, where all that matters is that the income from the rental income on the property covers the expenses, so the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. As long as that works and you have good credit, you can qualify for the loan.
So they're not looking for taxes,
No
income
taxes,
taxes.
no personal income.
And what's the minimum credit requirement?
Um, Tip for us, it's 660. But the lower your credit, the less of the loan amount you're going to get. The higher the credit, the higher the loan amount you're going to get. But we can lend up to 80% of the purchase price on a purchase, or 75% on a cash out refi.
Nice. I really wanted to touch this topic of DSCR because a lot of people, they know HML Investments, our company, as construction lender. Everybody work with us throughout the nations, hundreds, if not thousands of different investors. And very, very few of them know that we do DSCR loans.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate because we can help all those investors. And I actually recommend that to investors. A lot of investors, if you watch the old podcasts that I did with Couple Real Estate, I always talk about not selling real estate because really the ultimate dream and goal in the US is to buy real estate and own it for a long time so you can live from the money that you grow in as equity in the property. You don't want to sell because when you sell, you're paying taxes, you're getting rid of the property, and now you're getting back to income. And taxes is a big issue in the US. And you see the rich people, the way they live, they don't really pay any taxes. How they do that? They own real estate. And that's why that I think that's one of the main reasons why I don't like selling real estate anymore. Now I'm more educated. I've been doing this for a long time. So now I understand the concept of owning real estate. But if you're starting out, yes, flip the properties, but think long term how you can live basically tax free. You don't need to pay any more taxes. And owning real estate, that's the way for your success. So the developers that you have right now, any of them, they also they're not just selling the properties; they're also keeping some of them, right?
Yeah. I would say most are selling, but maybe 30 to 40% are keeping some of their properties. A lot of the developers we work with, they'll do 10, 20, 30 lot subdivisions. Maybe they'll sell a half or 75% of them, and then they keep some for themselves to rent them out.
Nice. And what do you think is the number one state for a new real estate investor to start investing in?
I would say where everybody's moving to, which is, the East Coast. It's the Carolinas, it's Tennessee, Florida. Certain areas in Florida are still good, like Palm Beach, Delray,
Yeah.
Boca Raton. Miami is still okay, but the rest of Florida is pretty tough right now. But it's a good opportunity for buyers. So if you're looking to buy property, right now values are declining, and we might see even more decline in values over the next couple of months. So it could be a great opportunity in Florida to buy at a discount.
Yeah, we see actually the declining values all over the nation right now, especially here in LA. Oh my God, the market is exploded right now with a lot of properties, and sellers are getting really anxious to sell, and they're reducing their prices like crazy. So there's going to be a lot of deals right now, a lot of opportunities. It's a great time right now to get into real estate. I highly recommended that. So if you are from a particular state, but then you hear Johnny here talking about different state that is not in your state, think big. Don't be afraid of going to other places and exploring other opportunities. Right now we just opened the office in Miami like a year ago, and I want to invest in real estate building because I'm developing properties here in LA. But before I'm going to start developing properties in Florida, I'm going to go there a few times. I'm going to study the area. I'm going to study the locations. I'm going to study the people. I'm going to study the movements there to understand that I'm not going to lose money. So if I'm going to come into any deal, I'm going to make the right choices. Even though I know and I'm open to making mistakes. I know I'm going to make mistakes. But I don't want the mistakes to knock me down from doing any further business in Florida. So don't be afraid to invest. Johnny, I really appreciate you coming here and giving us some time because it's so important. This guy is like kicking ass in Florida. He's managing all the team in Miami HML Investments. And by the way, this video is sponsored by HML Investments. And he's doing everything it takes, to help developers and new real estate investors. And that's why it was important for me to have him in the show today with us. Hopefully you learned something. You have any notes?
No, for the next episode, just make sure you guys email us info@hmoinvestments.com with your questions. We'll answer your questions live on the show. So send in your questions for the next show.
Yeah. We're going to make you a better real estate investor. If you new in real estate or you've been in real estate for a long time, there's a lot of things that you still need to learn. I'm still learning. He's still learning. We're all in a learning curve here in real estate, but we're trying to create success. And Johnny and I, we're going to do whatever it takes to make you the next big success in real estate. Follow at Cup of Real Estate and let's rise it up.
Rise it up, baby.